Welcome to the What's Your Revolution Show, a show for men and the people who love them, where we discuss how men can find and embrace the revolution within themselves, where people can find and embrace the revolution within themselves. I am your host, joined by my dude, my co host, Dr. Travis Batts. And this is the What's Your Revolution Show, our Revolt and Evolve series. You know, the series of conversation where two well educated black men have an like unconstructed conversation about past episodes, what's going on in our lives. And as we move down this journey, revolutionaries, of moving through how to fulfill your revolution. And if you remember, if you listen to the first two episodes, first three, can't even remember. We're there. You know, we began talking about what it looks like to fulfill your revolution, to revolt and evolve, right? To figure out how to answer that question, what's a revolution? And then say, who do I have to be? Who can't I be? What do I need to leave behind to be the revolutionary version of myself? And who do I need to evolve into to actually be, to actually fulfill this revolution? And then we talked about, then we talked about your choice points, right? What choices do you have to make? And then the eloquent Dr. Travis Batts, as always, as he is most proficient in having verbiage. That's right, having verbiage and strategies and tips to make sure that you're actually making the correct choice points. So make sure that you go back to the second episode in this genre. I think it's the second episode. It's horrible. We've been doing this for so long, where we talked about choice points. And I want to say that we will actually get a chance to how do you find your midwives? And we talk about this because Dr. Travis Batts is my midwife. He has helped me birth this revolution out to the world. And I am hoping that at some point Dr. Travis Batts will say that I am his midwife, but we will see. We will definitely see. So we're just gonna jump in. We're just jump in. Dr. Travis Batts, welcome back to the Revolt and Evolve recurring series of conversations with two eloquent black men who are very, very smart, who will use amazing words and who will stymie their guests as we talk about comical as well as learned topics.
I like that. I like that. Thanks for having me back. It's like being back home, being back with family. And I have said, if you don't know, I've taken pictures, and said you are continually birthing new ideas, new opportunities that don't only allow me to find my revolution, but allow others to as well. That's the
That's right.
goal, right? That is the
That
goal. That your revolution is not only for you. And I can tell you with some of the programming and various things that I don't know, they just fell into my lap, largely due to how I changed my mindset, changed my
mm,
approach, and again, had an opportunity to have a second chance to make some differences in my community. So
there you
thank
go.
you directly for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You are welcome. And I see that I see that my little nudging in the second episode. This is actually the fourth episode. In the
Hmm.
second episode of this, I you went to the barber. So I am so happy to see that you had that you come in here looking all smooth face. You got a shave. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Hey, Mrs. Betts, I don't want you to be throwing any knives at me across the way. I gave you, hey, I sent you a text. I sent a text to you saying, Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Betts. So I don't want you coming for me because
She
you
She says thank you. She got the text I told her. But it's interesting that you mentioned the barber, because my barber, he says, why you gonna go on a show and you know that people know you come here? And so what that did, though, you see how you plant these seeds? You knew I wanted to start a project with my barber. You knew that. And
yeah,
so we talked about the barbershop study, which was
yes,
one of the single most effective ways to lower high blood pressure in African
hmm
American males. So my barber, being upset that you talked about my hair that day, said, we got to do something. So what did we create? We'll have our first event on the 3rd of June. This isn't a plug, but the Be Happy program. What that is, B, basically barber happy, H, health awareness program initiative. So literally, we're just meeting up. I'm gonna have some pharmacists come out. I'm gonna have some nurses come out. We're gonna take blood pressure, have again some healthy snacks, and really talk about how to improve your health while you get a cut. Ultimately, we want to trim the risk of heart disease in our community. Thank you for planting that revolution. You see what I'm saying?
Hey,
It's always love in this space.
man. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that a little colloquialism and comedic reverence that we have for each other
Excellent.
allows us to then also bring revolution to the community. That
Exactly.
you can actually be a much healthier person and a better looking person by going to the barbershop, right? Going to the barbershop. You can find Dr. Travis Batts on one of those TikTok videos where you see this transformation happen, transformation happening, where he goes, as we say here on the show, he goes from ashy to classy
Classy.
uh, in 30 minutes, but and also teaches you how to then lower your blood pressure. I love this. I cannot wait for the Cannes Film Festival to see this. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Look, that's amazing, brother, that you have been able to turn uh turn tragedy into triumph. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, well, it's about framing that mindset, right? When you had again, brother is Dawson
yeah,
is his
Wayne
name?
Dawson. Wayne
Wayne
Dawson, that's
Dawson
right.
on, and he talked about those 3 steps to change. Because I could have took that commentary, and I think a lot of people are in this space where they take what's in their environment or what someone says. And I know for you, it came from a place of love, but it allowed me to transiently say, "Hey, look, let me rethink this thing." Then what it
Mhm.
did is it forced me to transform how I took it into a way to turn an obstacle into an opportunity. And then
Yeah,
from
okay.
there, it allowed me to transcend your motivation, right, into a community
Wow,
project. Them
wow,
the 3 T's,
Wayne.
right?
Wow, Wayne. He's gonna go with the 3 T's here. He's going with the 3 T's, Wayne. Okay,
I want to
I
get
hear
that out
you.
early.
Exactly. Wayne Dawson, 3 T's. All right.
Three T's.
Transcend. Yeah, I'm going to transcend all of Charles's jokes so I can move past his space. But
I elevated myself.
Wayne was amazing. So I see that you want to jump into this Wayne Dawson episode for a second. Revolutionaries, if you have not heard the Wayne Dawson episode, as I put into the show notes, it is one of the most pivotal and most important episodes that I have ever done outside of the 5 opportunities that Dr. Travis Bass has been on the show with me, because at some point you're going to get some analogy, some like I don't even know what you call when you put letters together, anagram, whatever. So
Acronym.
that is going to transform your life, like MEDSS. Don't forget that.
I love it.
But Wayne's show was like religion. It was religion, literally, and we talked about, and it has been a theme. It has been a theme throughout our conversations and throughout the show this year about mindset and limiting beliefs and limiting beliefs about that, and that's why I labeled it the power of the great I am. Like, what I just want to know, what did it make you feel listen to the show?
Well, at first, when you hear people talk, and this is one of those difficult things because the first M in meds is mindfulness, and that's a abstract construct, right? Because if you tell me, and he came, and I liked it because he came from the perspective of a coach, and very early on in the episode, he separated the difference between a coach and a therapist, and I'm still
Mhm.
looking for someone to kind of help me work through those past things. But what he said was a therapist helps you deal with dysfunction and manage it in such a way that now you can move. But a coach helps you to see those blind spots, helps you to know that your right hook isn't hitting and this is a better way to throw it. And
Mhm.
from that perspective, whether it's football, track, volleyball, whether it's life, whether it's a life coach, it's those things that really allow someone to say, okay, I'm doing pretty good, but how do I reach that better version of myself? And I think it
Mhm.
fits with the tenets of revolting and evolving. And so
Yes,
that's why that,
yes.
that show pulls you in very, very early. And then you can't stop listening because I shouldn't say this, but while I'm at a stoplight, sometimes I might jot down notes or but it's those things where I filled up my page on one side, turn it over, filled up another. They said, "How long is your commute?" It wasn't long enough, right? So
Right.
so it's one of those things where even from that perspective, it allowed me to catch on and embrace. And when you think about a good coach, right? And this is what I tell my kids when I coach, whether it's track or football. I say, as a coach, I engage with you because I know that there's a better person or a better way that you can do this task. Once I
Yes.
stop, it's not because I think you're where you need to be. It's just because I don't think I can push you anymore. Right. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people get to that place where either they don't have a good coach or they surrounded themselves with people who either they're above and they don't feel like they can tell them anything, or they're beneath and they don't feel like they can ask them. So you
Man.
have to
Mm.
find that right room. Go ahead, brother.
No, 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 no. It is hitting on because I actually called Wayne after listening to the episode. Because interestingly enough, like when we're doing the episode, I'm not listening. I'm doing the mental gymnastics of trying to figure out what's the next question by listening intently, by what I'm saying, and thinking about where do I want to go, what do my listeners want to hear from the guests. And so, but going back and then being a fan of the show, all right, I'm not only a client, I'm the What's a Revolution host. But but when I am a consumer of the podcast, and I went back and called him, I said, I've had a number of coaches. I've had a number of coaches, but just from listening to him in that process, I was like, this is the person that I need. Because like you just said, is that a coach, uh, there has to be a level of respect around the coach. One, the coach also has to move you to the next level, and I think many, and I'm not judging the way that people are coached or how they coach, but I'm not one of those person who deals with the woo woo, the frou frou, the how do I want strategy, I want tips, I want you to say, you know what, like you have a limiting belief around this. This is how you overcome this limiting belief, right? And this power of the great I am. And stop saying that you're not this position of I'm not this, or I can't be this, or I am this. And allow, as he said, is that when you move back and you remember when you move back, he says that we spend so much time projecting about what may happen in this world, right? This may happen instead of being present in the moment. I am present in the moment with one of my closest friends right now, and the joy that it brings. Nothing else matters. I'm going to have dinner with my mother hopefully later on, but that's not here. It is, I am right here with you. And if we can focus on the here and now, as he said, that we can figure out who we are in that moment. I am a podcast host. You are a podcast host. Go and go and check out the About That Life podcast with Dr. Travis Batts. He's probably on episode 5 or 6. It's on his YouTube channel. Make sure that you go check him out. Amazing. His last guest was off the chain. All right. So make sure that you're going to check both of these shows out. But Dr. Travis
Thank you.
Batts, About That Life, right? Make sure that you're checking out and you're subscribing and listening and lauding and like passing on to your friends about this wonderful wonderful opportunity to listen to him in another form, another vantage point, and all of the greatness that is Dr. Travis Batts. But that's the present moment, and that's what I loved about Wayne Dawson, is that he said prescribe to this being in the here and now.
Yeah, and I think that's actually hard, right? It sounds easy, but because I think we don't control the things from our past that we hold on to that cloud our mind. I always make the joke to folks in my clinic to say, okay, you give me new information, that's great, but I got about 4 terabytes of storage and I'm about 3.9 right now, right? And so how do you
Mm-hmm.
get rid of those things that you hold on to? And that's where that coach, right, has to work
Mm-hmm.
out those bad habits. Now,
Yes.
and we both play sports, and whether it's dropping your inside shoulder in baseball or stepping on the wrong foot when
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to do a jump cut, right? It's understanding that the coach first has to recognize the abnormality. Well, first they have to say there's a problem. Then they have to recognize how to take that problem apart and break it down. And then finally, they have to give you the key thing that you said were strategies
Yeah.
to improve your play and strategies to improve how you make those decisions so that you can get to that next level or transcend. And I think that's how, whether you're a CEO of a company, a high school student, a mom balancing a busy schedule, that episode can give you the tools. It
Mm-hmm.
was literally a master class. You ready for this? For free. For free.
it,
If you
it,
just
it,
listen to
for
that
free.
episode, yeah, it was amazing. He talks about how do people get caught up in various things? Meaning, how do I know I need a coach? Well, he talks about Paul, right? Now he did it from this perspective of African American males, but and I like those PA. I'm gonna use that, right? So ultimately, we're limited by what we think is possible. And that
Right.
comes a
Exactly.
lot from what we speak into
Hmm.
existence, right?
Yes.
Then you say, well, it might be possible, but darn it, I don't have the ability to do it. And I think that's what makes me upset nowadays. And you talked about it. You said you aged both of us a little bit because I knew what the Dewey Decimal System was. I knew that 0 point. I knew that. But now I can ask Siri. I can ask different things
Chat
and chat
GPT, brother.
GTP,
Yeah.
and get that information. So it is. You have the ability to learn new skills, but then finally, I think this is what limits both. It's that worthiness piece. And
Yeah.
it undercuts a larger and a broader concept that we've talked about before. This concept that I think has always been there, but now we've got a name to it. That imposter syndrome, where
Imposter syndrome.
right where I see people who are successful people, but then when they're put in a position where other successful people are around them, they kind of cower. They kind of
Yeah.
shift, and
Hmm.
and the hardest thing is to say, hey, this is your opportunity. And that's what he said. When you're the only person in the room,
Yes.
start
Yes.
clapping. Round of applause. I'm about to,
Yeah.
it's about to
You know
go
what I'm
down,
saying? Round of applause. Here comes Dr.
Right,
Travis Batts.
right.
You know,
And for me, people always laugh. They say, "Hey, you walk like you got." I said, "Oh, I got a song in my head." When I'm walking, right in the hospital, right. I used to play theme music when I walked to the hospital. People, but it's because I feel good, about what I do. I feel great about how the Lord has blessed me to meet
mm,
people like you, to have a wife that's supported, to have kids that don't always act. My kids are wonderful, and because I look at all those wins, it allows me to say that I am blessed to be in a space and to be in a place where all I have to do is continue to show my face. So,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's an opportunity. It's certainly an opportunity. So listen to the
It,
episode.
yeah, please. I implore everybody to go listen to that episode again and again and again.
Yes.
And as you said that, look, as you said that people are always asking you like, how you walk into a place. I was like, he's got BSE, big song energy. He's got,
Yes.
he's got what's wrong with him? He's got BSE. What is
Got
that?
it.
Big song. He's
Big
got big
song
song
energy.
energy. I'm not. So that's an interesting thing. Like, what's the soundtrack of your life right now? What is if I had to ask you, what's the soundtrack of your life?
Oh, so
Yeah, yeah.
really, well, some of them I don't want to say because that might give too much. We can say that
Mm,
off the air. So, but
yeah.
I keep it real. I'm still a North
Hey,
Carolina
hey,
boy. I'm still a
hey.
North Carolina boy.
I'm not bad. I'm not
But
mad at that.
but right now, it's a song. It is I work hard. It's literally
Uh-huh.
a song that talks about hard work, and
Mm.
it's not. It's just, and I forget his the brother that talks about root work, and they literally just took
Eric
his voice,
Thomas. Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas, just talking. Hey, you got work. You got to work hard. People
Hmm.
today don't want to work for anything, and then they put a hot beat under it. And literally, when I wake up in the morning and I go to the gym at 5 a.m. and it's a leg day, and I hate leg day, I play
Mm.
that 5 times while I'm
Right.
saying, okay, the only way to get to where I want to go is to move from where I am right now. And the
Revolt
only
and
way to make
evolve.
that move is to take that, is to revolt and evolve.
That's
That's it.
it.
And I
That's it.
play that. And I play that. When they tell me, hey, we got 18 patients to see and nobody to help you see them, I work hard. It's time to work. This
Yeah.
this is what I'm
Yeah.
here for. So
Yeah.
that that is one of the songs that when you see me moving and doing different
Mm.
things, I know I'm about to, like I say, going back to that coaching analogy and bringing it here, is when I talk to kids and when I talk to parents about how to improve, I say when I grade out athletes or when I grade out pretty much anybody in most settings, I ask three things, right? A.E.B. A.E.B. It's supposed to be A.B.C. No, A.E.B. For A, you ready? I know you were waiting for one of these DTBs, Dr. Bat specials, right? So A, first you got to ask yourself, do you know your assignment?
Do
Right?
you
Do
know
you know
your
what you're
son?
supposed to do? Right? Do
Hmm.
you know? And that's where walking through our conversations, listening to prior episodes will help you or realize what that purpose is. What's your assignment? Secondly, E, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Are you ready to execute? Can you execute and did you execute?
Mm.
Because you know what you're supposed to do, but can you execute it? Now, that might mean getting some other people to help, right? as we said before, your revolution isn't just for you.
Oh man.
Sometimes you got to bring people with you to help. And then
Yeah.
B. Now,
Mhm.
B is more of a chance type things, but when you know your assignment and you execute, big plays are gonna come. And so when I'm talking to football players, whether they're a corner or anything else, and I say, first, do you know your assignment? Yeah, coach, I know my assignment. Okay. Are you able to execute? I can execute, make a big play. Let's go. And that's what life is. It is looking for those opportunities to have those big plays, to really make a
Yeah.
difference. But you first have to know your assignment or your purpose. You have to be able to execute. And
Mm.
that might mean getting some more ability, learning some different things, and then finally just waiting for that big play. Because the two things in life that you can't get back, no matter what, and you said one of them, is time and opportunity.
Time and
Sometimes you might have
opportunity.
the time and you don't have the opportunity. Other
Mhm.
times you got the opportunity, but you
You
just
don't
didn't
have the
make the
time, and
time.
you gotta make it. And I keep thinking about what you just said, like understanding the assignment. Typically, the assignment is the answer to what's your evolution. That's the assignment,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the assignment. And we've been walking people through, okay, the execution piece. We've been walking, and I love how we can, how we have the synergy to meld that through, because the execute, fulfilling a revolution is about execution. You have to, you have to revolt, like you said, and evolve. And that's the execution piece, right? You have to execute on the choices, time, and sometimes there are small choices every day. Think about that,
Right.
like these small choices every day. Because what happens is that when you can become the revolutionary version of yourself, or to answer that question, what's your revolution, you're prepared for the big play. You're prepared for, like you said, you're prepared. I can make the big play. And
Right.
I love how you bring that in, like understanding what the assignment is and execution. And it's funny that, what's my word for 2023? Execution.
Mm.
That's my word for 2023. But I also know, in thinking about that, is that what has to happen for me to be able to execute, get out of my way, get out of my limiting beliefs, focus. Like, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out now, Travis, is how do I chunk and focus? Chunk time and focus.
Mm.
Limit the distractions, right? Limit the distractions that are all around me. Because what happens, like you said, not staying present, what Wayne said, and all of the time, what are the distractions? Well, mom, the phone, the internet, all the different things, the waves of things that come. But to chunk time, to say 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm chunking this time, I'm turning off everything, and I'm executing on this. And that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Because the greatest leaders, like yourself, and I ask myself all this all the time. I was like, this brother has kids, dogs, a wife. You know what I'm saying? He's he's one of the top cardiologists in the country. I didn't say in San Antonio, Texas. I didn't I didn't say just in Texas. He's one
Thank
of the
you,
top
brother.
cardiologists in the country. And then in the middle of the day, he's like, "Oh, I just put this TikTok together. I wanted to show you." And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? "Oh, and I just recorded this episode of my show, and I was able to cut it up myself and edit it and do all of this." Oh yes, and Dr. Corporal, and I'm like,
Why did I have
"How
to have
the
a
hell
British
do you
accent?
do?"
What I would have.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't have
You
a
know what I'm
British
saying?
accent.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, "Well, hello. I've done all this today. Plus, I've seen 18 patients, and you know what I'm saying? I've done all of this. By the way, Chuck, what have you
By
been
the
doing?
way, good
But
man.
by the way, good man, what have you been doing today?" And I'm just like, I had 5 meetings, and then I took a nap. You know what I'm
Oh, nice
saying?
showing off.
You know what
Nice
I'm
showing
saying?
off.
I took a nap. I had 5 meetings. I had 5 meetings. I had lunch and I took a nap. That's what I did. And then I was like, and then I got my back rubbed because I was playing pickleball this morning and I pulled my back.
See,
So, you know, so really what happens is that you understand the assignment and you execute and you make big plays every day. I understand the assignment and all of these different distractions, like woo, rabbits and turtles and everything. And
mm-mm.
I forgot what execution is. And now when the big play comes, okay, I'm just joking. I make big
I
plays every
know.
day, but not like
Three
Dr. Travis Pat.
words. 3 words. And maybe it's 2 words. I don't know. I've never looked at Camelback Ventures. Right? We're talking
Okay.
about choice points, right? You
Yeah.
you created a mechanism to where now you are where many people hope to be, where you
Mm.
choose what your day is, where you
Mm.
choose. And again, we can integrate, to live, not loathe, right?
Yeah.
Where the
So good.
opportunity to have a second chance to
Yeah.
redo your day, to say, you know what, I want to spend 3 hours with my mom and not have to worry about X, Y, or Z, or did I
Yeah.
finish this project, or
Mm.
did that is independence, right? We made the joke on the show before, give us free, but it was really everybody is searching for their version of freedom. And whether that's having 5 meetings, taking a nap, you know what? I'm hanging out with mom the rest of the day, or I am doing nothing the rest of the day. And I think that's the goal. And the thing is, you are living the blueprint for where many of us, many professionals, right,
Mm.
want to go. Right? I want to be able to do that. My wife says, even if I had the opportunity to nap, I wouldn't. I would. I just don't have the opportunity right now. But give me time. Give me time. I'm still working on it.
Hey, hey,
But
hey,
that
hey.
is
That's
is
Charles
is
Corprew.
where you're moving towards and what you're
Yeah.
doing in those things. So I applaud you. Like I said,
It's
you
look.
are a mentor, you are a model, you are my midwife. If you need, even though I've texted to you, taking pictures, you're like, oh, whatever. But I'm telling you, it is literally on my desk right here. My wife said I can't buy any more books to read. Everybody on your show that says they have a book, I say my mentor must have read it. My midwife, so I'm ordering. I'm ordering it before the
There you
show is
go.
over, right?
There you.
And for
There.
me, just digging into each of them and taking parts of each of them has allowed me to not only build my SAT word coming vernacular, but is
Vernacular.
also expanded my ideology about what is truly possible for me. Right?
It is. And all of that goes back to this point that I have been saying. Your success is surrounded by the systems that you have created that limit distraction. Getting back to live, not loathe, getting back to staying in the present and having the systems in place. And I think about this, revolutionaries, for you. The two of us, one of us is talking about reading every book that is every guest has had on the show. I know Ramal Toon is like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? No ashes in the fire, all of the things. And I'm like, ooh, I got elephants flying around. Right. All of but here's the thing. Dr. Batts understands the assignment, he understands how to execute. And all jokes aside, when it's time to focus, when I'm really really understanding what my assignment is, and I fully understand this, like all jokes aside, now I really fully understand where my zone of genius is right now, and that is my zone of genius. The assignment is, how can you support, what did I leverage from Camelback? And I actually said this today, Travis, is that Camelback is like a lemon to me, and I wring every bit of Camelback out into the world.
Mm,
Everything that I have learned, every knowledge, every network piece, everything that came out of 4 years at Camelback, I am like this every day in what I do. And here's the thing, and this I'm going to say that I usually try to say this very humbly, Travis, because um, my father was a humble man when he needed to be, but he was also a hubris man when he needed to be. So I'm going to channel some of Charles Corprew Jr. here. That he was a humble man, but when he needed to tell you what he was doing, he could tell you, I'm really really good at what I do. When it comes to helping and coaching and mentoring and investing in women and diverse owned companies, I'm really good at it. Goes back to what Wayne was saying, is that there's no limiting belief about what I can do when it comes to that. Like when I am interested, when I understand the assignment, my brain execute, it scales. And it's so interesting, Travis, to watch, like literally watch my brain go from here to like when I'm
man.
interested, and it's a talent, it's a skill to say, oh, wait a minute. Have you thought about X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, D, E, and F? And they're like, nobody's ever thought about that way. And I'm like, oh, because I'm thinking in my mind, it was an easy transition to go from there with what you're talking about. And when I'm engaged, when something is promising and I can see, I'm trying to do everything.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the understanding of assignment. So all jokes aside, but I think for me, you have been able to set up systems because to limit some distractions, but I understand your kids and your dogs and your wife and your job, they provide distractions. Good leaders stay in the present. They limit the distractions that they know are going to take them off of the assignment, that won't allow them to focus, that won't allow them to execute. I've got to get better at that. I truly, because there are some big things on the horizon for me, and I need to execute, but I need to make sure that this show and the venture capital and the coaching are the focal points because that's the assignment. Those are the things that I need to execute on. Everything else is a distraction.
And I think, and I hear, and maybe for lack of a better term, and I was trying to think of how to reword, because I think some of those things, or many of them, are good, right? In the sense where you can push, right? And I'm going to use a term, and now I'm not very good with names. You're better than this. You're going to find it. You can put yourself into that mode where you're executing, and then your body goes into ready, GTP, grind time, please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so these things
Reggie
that
Hubbard.
Reggie Hubbard, right? These things that we're calling distractions, I think are necessary detours or necessary speed bumps so that you can throttle back, right? Because when we think about,
Look, that's the biggest distraction of my life right here.
okay, I'm like, hold on, you need to be FaceTime? I didn't know
No,
what
no,
we,
no. That is the
okay, I see
biggest.
you.
This thing right here. I hate it, but it is the biggest distractor of my life.
Mm. And so, okay, in that sense, but you were talking about, other things where your brain was free. But yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, my cell phone and do I police my screen time? Yes. So I do.
Mm.
And I think part of that is because um, I know for me to do what I need to do, some things are super time sensitive.
Mhm.
Some things require, let me move this up on the list. Some things require
Mhm.
that I I approach it in such a systematic way that no matter what, and this is where I still got to work, I lose sleep. I don't do this. Now the family is, my spiritual relationship, my familial relationship, my personal health and well being and relationships with,
Mhm.
with people. My job comes underneath all those things, right? And
Yeah.
so, and by prioritizing it like that, I don't see those things at the top. I see those as healthy speed bumps, so to
Mm,
speak,
yeah.
just changing the framework around them. My phone, all right, it's a necessary evil, but I do police my screen time, and
Yeah.
that's something that I didn't start doing. You ready for this? Until I was called a rock star. You
Who
called me a
called?
rock star.
Who called you? I was like, who called you a rock star?
You called me a rock
Because you
star.
are a rock star.
You said Dr. Travis Badge rocks, and when you said it, it's funny how words have power. So then
Mm.
I said, well, let me give off rock star persona. Let me wear a scarf in the summertime or something like that. Let me
He's like, rock star,
exactly. No, but
rock
what it
star.
did,
Ah.
it was wow because at that point I said, man, I never thought about myself like that. So it was, kind of how we talk about this self actualization, but it forced me to
Yes.
say, okay, I know that I am, and this some people don't, I am a product. I am a commodity. And there's
Mm.
not an infinite amount of me to go around. So I have to truly manage my time wisely to get what I need to the people that need it, but at the same time provide the people that I am here truly for. My family, my friends, I had to partition that in a way, and that's what
Mm.
Rockstar. Now I don't have a publicist, or I don't have a personal manager, but I have to do those roles. And by doing that, by you saying that, it let me know how valuable. The one thing, like I said, I cannot get back this time. I can't get back this moment. So I pour everything into that moment, and try to be as purposeful as possible. And again, thank you for that. Like I said, it's been a year of growth and development that has been exponential. Because earlier
Yeah.
on, I had this linear growth pattern, which was cool. I'd have one win, okay, one win. Now it's one win, fourfold difference. One win,
Mm.
eightfold difference, right? As opposed to benefiting my community here, I've reached out to communities, across the country, and I told you it's just been great because I didn't see myself that way, right? And not
Right.
that I saw myself negatively, I just didn't see that for me.
That's and I like that. I'm glad that you have been able to internalize those words, rock star, and did not internalize those words about going to the barber. I'm really, really happy about that. I'm really, really happy about that. You know what I'm saying?
I
But I mean,
did. That's why I
but
set up the program.
exactly. Look, um, but it harkens, right? I love this. I love it. Like, we'll figure out like we'll figure out how to take words from this show and put it into like the Black SAT. But
Right. There we go. We
um,
got to.
yeah, exactly. But it harkens to this opportunity for uplift. Yes, yes, I said it. Men of Omega. I said it. Uplift. Right. That's what we do. Right. He's 1911. Later on, early. Yeah,
Early.
early, real early. J5. But my point is that I love being able to hear that, right? If you go to the first episode, it's labeled like, you know, with rock star cardiologist, Dr. Travis Batts. That's what it is. It's with rock star cardiologist, Dr. Travis Batts. And that's who you are. That's who you are to me. And rock star in this sense is not just because of the work that you do, right? Not just because of the caliber of the work and how good you are at what you do, but just in the sense of the overall nature of who you are as a human. And I say that because I don't, people are like who he is as a person. I believe in humanity. I believe in humanity and how people show up in the world. Like rock star means that your humanity is uplifting to not only your family, your community, but it's uplifting to the world. You're saving lives, and you're just a good dude, And
Thank
so
you.
that gives that breeze into that rock star because you want to, like, if you look around at yourself, revolutionaries, you got to have rock stars around you. If you want to be a rock star, if you want to be revolutionary, you got to look around and be like, yo, hey, yo, you were a rock star. Like, because if you don't have rock stars around you, if you don't have revolutionary folks around you, you're ordinary. And I'm just going to say that plainly, like
Wow.
you're ordinary. And we know if you're listening to this show, the What's Your Revolution show, and this series of show with the Revolt and Evolve with two doctors, you don't want to be ordinary. You want to be a rock star. So who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? And that's the thing. And so me being able to say, I'm going to give this crown, right, to Dr. Travis Batts and his rock stardom is me saying there's a tremendous level of respect for who you are as a human. And
Thank you.
that speaks volumes. But we look at the Wayne Dawsons of the world. We look at the Devon Wooden of the world, right? And we haven't even, really even broached with that brother. Like those episodes back to back between Live Not Low, The Power of Second Chances, Revolutionaries. If you have not
It was
heard that with
amazing.
Devon Wooden, who is a business coach himself, and how he just drops in and tells this story of like, yo, you listen to this story, he's like literally about on the verge to go on the brink of going to jail for 17 years.
17.
17 years, and God all of a sudden is like, this is not your place. I want to look, you almost think like, I want you to be scared enough to know that this could have been your life. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? This brother had been through court and now almost died in an attack.
Right.
Right. So God is saying to him,
Mm.
brother, here you are in this space. I've given you second chance. I've given you chances in life. What
Mm.
are you going to do? And you could be angry about this.
Right.
Live not loathe. Live not know. Look, and it almost those episodes almost seemingly come together. Almost seamlessly come together and are like, make sure that you stay present.
Right. Now it is, and when you think about all of the three of them, right? And I told you, you're gonna help me with names. So the brother that basically used the word kings and queens and transformed an industry that doesn't look like us, right? He could have said, I'm not supposed to be there, and transformed that space. So just by what someone said to him that manifested in his life, he changed the culture and changed the space. And you may even get me on a bike one of these days. I don't know. I don't know. But just by hearing it, I'm like, man, I'm inspired. But all three of those episodes are all about changing your mindset
Yes.
to change your perception of your environment, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
and I think both of us had the blessing, and I'll say it that way, of having parents that were present, that were engaged, that vectored us in such a way that we kind of took a path where, of course, we gonna have some issues, right? But at the same time, we knew what the end goal was. Whereas I
Yes.
know people are
Yes.
listening to this and saying, well, you know what? I grew up without this, or I didn't have that, or my neighborhood didn't have this. I'm not a doctor, right? And what those episodes show you is that no matter where you are in that process or in your process, there is still an opportunity to revolt and evolve. That's why those
Yes.
things are so powerful, right? And again, I mean, it is inspiring to see that no matter where you are in that spectrum, you have the opportunity to make substantive change in your life that can affect not only you, but your community as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah. Yeah.
all of those brothers did. All of those brothers did.
That's the great thing. His name is Karan Swint, the founder and CEO of Kings Ride Together and Queens Ride Together, KRT and QRT. Um, yeah, this is just the opportunity to think about what it looks like individually and for communities to come together. And Karan's episode is just I don't even want to say a fragment of what we do. I think it is a true depiction of what revolution looks like from the communal sense. Because I
Right.
think that if we think about Wayne and we think about Javon, they're talking about the individual. But Quran, in a sense, the Quran is like how to build a kingdom and queendom. That's the title of the episode, Revolutionaries, is that he built a community.
Right.
He
Exactly.
built a community of people, right, around fashion and health. And so you think about people wake up, and there are people. One day, I'm going to start riding again at some point. I have not rode since the clave. My bike is taken apart. It is a part hanging on the wall in my garage. I know Commander. I know Colonel. I know Lieutenant Colonel. You're going to get on me. You all know who. I won't say your names because everybody's like, why do you keep saying these people's names on the show? You know who you are. But I will get back on a bike. But to say I'm going to get on a bike and ride with a peloton of folks, right? And to get better, faster, stronger, to look fashionable, to bring
Mm-hmm.
community together of people that look like me. And I mean, you're seeing all of these different communities around the country now coming together, riding together, rejoicing, loving on each other. And it is a beautiful. Actually, at the recording of this show, QRT's opening ride this weekend is in Philly.
Oh
And there's going to
wow,
be a
that's
mass of
cool.
folks from around the country riding together in all of their colorful outfits, moving and rejoicing and loving all because Quran said, I want to bring folks together.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to bring folks together. So the question is, how do you bring folks together? And ironically, at the recording of the show, which is 2 days before my birthday, um, I will be bringing folks together around my favorite food that my father introduced me to when I was a very, 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 very young man, very, very young boy. Pizza. Pizza. That's right. I love pizza. And I just want to tell this story. I just want to tell this story because I think this episode will come out in a week or two. Is that I remember I think it was the first time that I had pizza, Travis. And the place is actually still open. It's called Tony's. It's right off of Holland Road in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I remember, at least my memory, I remember of us sitting there. It was a pepperoni pizza, I think. It was hot. It was super hot. And it was my introduction to pizza, but it was my time with him. It was my time with him. And I just remember as a child, but like being a daddy's boy. And pizza was the thing that night that it fostered my love for pizza. I've been eating pizza every year, every week, every something since I was a little boy. I love pizza. Um, and so every year on my birthday, I find some way to have pizza, to have some time. And so it is really, really interesting that my birthday, which is the best day of the year for me, is that I coalesce around pizza and community. Something that was started by my father that he doesn't even know that he probably seeded in me that day because it was just time with him. It was our community. And now it means so much when I can bring 15 to 20 folks together to laugh, to joke, to drink, to have fun, to cackle at, cackle at me, to laugh at me and, talk about how old I've gotten, but around community. And that's what Quran has done. He's brought people together. He's brought community together. And that's the beauty of it all. That's the beauty of everything because we talk about community, individual community, and the world. And that's what these revolutionaries do. That's what you do. Because you're revolting and evolving yourself, you impact your community, and you change people's lives, man. That is worldwide. It is a beautiful thing, man. And I'll get off my diatribe. I'll get off my highs. I'll get off my horse now.
Hey, keep going. I like those positive words of affirmation. I take them all because it all kind of fills that cup, and we all have those days. And I know some people probably watch it. And so, first off, beautiful story. I love the connectedness and those memories that you have of your father, and they kind of bring me back to that same place with my father, and those trips we used to take on Sundays when we would drive to church that was 45 miles away, and the only thing I would look forward to when we left was a fudge round and a Welch's grape on the way home. I mean, it's now I can't eat either of those anymore. But the memory behind it is there, So,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
know people out there, and that's one of the things is that when you build up this well of the good, I mean, we're going to be in environments where we're inundated with kind of negative images, right? I mean, and I won't mention some of the ones that we see on the news, but as those replay, I mean, and you can speak to this more than I can, I'm finding that more and more people are kind of battling with this internal PTSD, not necessarily from things that have happened, but things that have seen and things that triggered them in a certain way. And I'm not a therapist by any means, but I can say when you build up or pull from some of those good memories, just like you have, right? It won't make you immune by any means, right? But it will allow you to have something to go back to. I tell athletes all the time, or just my patients, when they come in and they're upset that their blood pressure is not at goal or their
Mhm.
diabetes screening test, their A1C is up. And I said, well, sure, we're not happy about that. But think about all the other times, right? The other times you've seen me, the other times you've seen your primary care doctor when they have been. Let's look
Yeah.
at that and allow that to shift us in a way where
Mm.
now we focus on what's the why today, right? And I think people get so caught up
Staying
on that
present.
one negative thing that occurred. And I'm not saying one, those two or three, but they've had so many wins that they take them for granted. So whether it's a memory, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's an engagement, those are the things that really, really drive you. And these three episodes, each of them had that low point, and then
Yeah.
there was that choice
Yes.
point, and then it
Hmm.
was this moment where they just all started to soar and to glide, and I think
Hmm.
that is out there for everyone, and I think that truly it's taking that first step, right? I tell people all the time the only difference between the word change is one letter and chance is one letter. And that's just changing that G to
Hmm.
a C, right? And taking a chance on a change. And that's the tough part and changing that mindset. So, man, that story is, even though I wasn't a pizza guy, I'm just thinking about them drieds and the fudge rounds and the
Oh
now I was a
man.
now fudge rounds and Welch's grape kind of guy, but
Uh,
it's beautiful.
I don't know what a fudge round is, but
It's a little Debbie snack cake, so I can tell you, and
oh, I know. Yeah, I figured it. So
you
my
know what
father
a
loved Twinkies. I know. I don't know what a fudge round is. I just want you to know. I don't know what a fudge round is. I don't ever want to know what a fudge round is. I don't ever want to know what a fudge round is. But my father loved Twinkies. Right. My father loved Twinkies, and he also introduced me to Hostess cupcakes. And
okay.
so every now and again, when I know I'm not supposed to be eating them, but a Hostess cupcake is like a delish. Like it is nothing. It is the harbinger of evil. Like it is, but it's so good. It is so good. Um, Revolutionaries, like, look, it's just funny because my voice changes when I say revolutionaries. Like all
You
of a
get
sudden, I've been saying it
serious.
for so.
You
Yeah, I
hyped it
know.
up.
I hear it. Like,
See.
oh, it's time. It's that time. Hello, it's Dr. Corporate, Dr. Bats, revolutionaries. Hey, Dr. Beatty, just want to say shout out to you, my good friend, Dr. Elijah Beatty, who is also
Eli.
a world renowned cardiologist. Want to give a shout out to him
Yes.
and to my boy, who just was minted, the newly minted Dr. Philip Granville Eccles, who just graduated from Northeastern University over the weekend. So I want to give a shout out and his new job in North Carolina. So shout out to you, my dude, for all the work and all the things that you've done to get to where you are. Proud father, proud husband. Sarah Park Eccles, as I call her, Team Eccles, and they're raising young King Julian, as we say. So shout out to you, dear brother, and all the hard work that you've done to get to this junction. It was always interesting. He saw Eli and me as, having a PhD, having an MD. He's like, I can't be around two dudes who are doctors, and I'm not one. So you finished, right?
That's
You understood
beautiful.
this. You understood the assignment. You executed, and now you have the ability to make big
Gotta make a
plays.
big play.
So got to make big plays. But Revolution, as you know, this opportunity to have this unstructured, unconstructed. I don't think that's a word, but it it is whatever. We'll make mistakes, but you know what I'm saying is that what this conversation is just an opportunity for you to do a deeper dive, listening to us really do a deeper dive on some of the things that are important to us and how we get better in the world, and to be able to experience Dr. Travis Batts on a regular basis. Not only for me to learn and be a part of greatness, is it's a part of your journey, I think, as well. When you hear the things that he's talking about and how he can chunk and illuminate some of the really the big things that come out of these shows, this is a blessing. This is a blessing to bring this to the forefront. And Revolt and Evolve is for you. And so I want to say thank you to my good friend, my dear brother. I am trying to figure out when I am coming to San Antonio, but I also know that Texas in the summer is not the place that I want to be. But we're gonna figure that out so we can brainstorm and show revolutionaries that you actually are not an AI version of myself. But so you know, take us out, Dr. Betts.
I just want to tell everybody again, uh, take the opportunity to really just sit and think about what you want. Because all those episodes, all three of them, right? It's not a lot. You don't have to go back to, 2020, 2019, like I did searching for different things. Listen to those three, and they provide you a roadmap. Not a
Mm,
roadmap to any particular place, but a roadmap to an opportunity to open your mind, your heart, and your spirit to chance.
yeah, to chance.
That's what they do. Because it's uncomfortable to say, you know what, I'm going to embrace negative comments in a way and use them positively. It's uncomfortable to say, I'm going to move away from the things that I previously had done that I know, right? That you know that there's a certain level of familiarity with
Mm,
those things because you know the outcome, right? But what we're asking you to do, and we're not preaching to the court. We're doing these things. We're living this reality. Is we are looking at ourselves, taking an introspective view, and having outward behaviors to change not only our lives but the lives of everyone around us. We
yeah,
are
that's it.
truly living in our evolution.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We need to say more. That is the mic drop. So, revolutionaries, we will see you the next time. And as Dr. Batts and I want you to do, is to always be thinking and answering what we both think is the most thought provoking question of your life. What's
What's your
revolution?
revolution?
There you go. We'll talk to you soon. Also, make sure you go check out the About That Life podcast on all your podcast networks. and YouTube because it's amazing. We'll talk to you soon. I love you. I love you. I love you. Peace.